we are testing really a fully installed Joomla from start to finish, or at least that's the idea.
New to Joomla. Welcome, Hannes. So Hannes is part of production. He is passionate about testing. The last time I met Hannes a little while ago when he was last in London, but the first time I ever met you was in Maidstone. Olivia, Owen, were you there in Maidstone? I think was. I'm not sure. I know Hugh was. And I remember Hannes was much younger then. I was going to say that.
Long, full hair and everything.
And I was really impressed because we were about to bring out a version of Joomla that day. It was the Saturday, and Joe came up with a question and said, Hannes, I was playing with Joomla last night and I noticed that if you do X, Y, or Z, then this happens. And you looked off into the distance and went, oh, I won't repeat what you said. And that was the release pulled. But the impressive thing was you managed to work out in your head, with the code in your head, that there was an error. And off you went to fix it all. Just meant we didn't get the release that day. But really, really impressive, always what you've been doing. And a lot of your stuff is hidden. So you've been starting a new series in the magazine called From the Boiler Room. We've already had one about some of the code you've been deprecating. But today I've asked you on doing a talk on an exciting new project called Cypress. So over to you, Hannes.
Yeah, thank you. I have to admit, I didn't really prepare a big presentation now because life. But yeah, I don't know, did anybody of you ever look into what Joomla is doing in order to automatically test all our changes that we have in the CMS? I don't see any hands. So let me show you an example pull request that we have. I don't know whoever wrote this. But if you go to the bottom of that pull request, you see this block over here. And if you click on this link here, or if it's failed, you get these different links, and you're questioning yourself, okay, what's this doing here? And a part of that is this little line here. We are using drone for continuous integration. Continuous integration means for every pull request, for every change we're doing, we are running quite a few tests. We see, does our composer still work? Is the code style still correct? Is our NPM setup still working? And then lots of unit test, integration tests with different databases, different PHP versions, code style for SCSS and JavaScript, and last but not least, the system tests. And the system tests are the interesting part because, did I open the right? No, I didn't. The system tests are the interesting parts because at this point, we are testing really a fully installed Joomla from start to finish, or at least that's the idea. And we're doing this in a browser, and we can test if all features are working correctly. I'm doing all this in quotes because right now our test suite is rather thin, and that's mainly because up to recently we were using Selenium more or less for our browser tests, and those and Selenium is just a big pain in the ass. It's difficult to set up. It's difficult to configure. It's actually pretty difficult to write tests for, and so I think in May this year, we had the Joomla camp in Essen, and I talked to Robert Deutz there and some other people, and they told me, have a look at Cypress. It's really cool. It's going to make life so much easier. That's Cypress here. They have or their basic feature is free to use. If you want, you can use some advanced features with a central dashboard where you can see all successful tests. But for Joomla itself, and most of us, the simple free version is good enough. And let me show you code, because code is king. I just learned 5 minutes ago that PHP Storm has this presentation mode. If you go into a copy of Joomla 4.3, you will find this tests folder, and in there the Cypress folder. And this contains all the Joomla specific stuff we need. And in the integration folder, you have all the specific tests. Now, you might want to test this out yourself. So how do you install all of this? It's pretty easy. When you're installing Joomla from GitHub and you're running npm install in Joomla, it's already installing everything for you. And afterwards, when you're done, you only have to type npm run Cypress open, and you need to wait a little bit. I actually have the issue that upon first run after Cypress update, I always get a timeout for Cypress verification. I have to just run it again, and then it's working fine. Let me exit presentation mode. And we're waiting for Cypress to open. I did test it a few minutes ago, so there we go. So Cypress opens this nice app, and right now we only have the end-to-end testing configured. You click on this. We're waiting for the configuration to be loaded. And we select, okay, we want to test this with Chrome, for example. So we start end-to-end testing in Chrome. And it's opening up Chrome. It's loading all the different tests that we have. And let's just select our install test, for example. That needs to be run first, of course. And let me fix my Cypress configuration. I did test a lot of stuff, but not this. So you see, I changed the configuration, and it's automatically opening up or reinitializing the configuration, starting back Chrome back up. And now we are clicking again on install, and you can watch it do all the stuff, run through all the different steps. If you look down here, we are waiting for the different Ajax calls in the back end. Yay, Joomla is installed. We are logging in. We are clicking away the statistics message, setting error reporting to maximum, and logging out back again. Okay, that's cool, but the most interesting part is we can now go back in time. So you see at the side here, we have all the different steps we did. And if we are now selecting one part of this, you see at the here, it's highlighted what we did. And the even more important, you can actually check the content or the web page content at that point in time, and inspect it and see what has been done there. Yeah, and then we want to check our next test. For example, our content test. That's going into the article manager, creating an article, publishing, unpublishing it, trashing it, and emptying trash as far as I can remember. And you see it's doing all these steps. It's a joy to watch all of this. And our tests passed. Nice. But let's go back to the actual code. If you look at, for example, I swear my computer isn't that slow normally.
We find that when it's being recorded and you're doing things over Meet, it tends to be a bit slower anyway. So genuinely,
Yeah.
I think Meet takes quite a bit.
Let me see which test is going to, because we got some tests which aren't that interesting. This might be a little bit more interesting. So this is the tests we are writing. First of all, you describe what you want to do. Then you can have a before and a before each test hook. In our case, for the backend, we have to do a login each time because Cypress is using a new browser instance for each test. And then you're describing the actual test. So we want to create a new user. We visit the page, in this case, the configuration page. Contrary to Selenium, Cypress does wait until the page is fully loaded. Selenium will go ahead and just fire off all commands that you give it one after the other as fast as it can. Cypress will look at the page and say, okay, we're waiting until the onReady event is fired. And only then we'll do the next steps, like clicking the server tab. And then we want to disable sending mails. So we check if we're in global configuration on the server tab. We scroll to the right form field and click on that, so to disable sending out the mails, saving the configuration again. And so at one point we're going to can you even read that? I'm trying to make this a little bit bigger. At one point we are visiting the user manager. We are checking if that really succeeded, and then click on the new button and fill out all the necessary data for the user. And then save, and yippee, we get a new user in the system. Yeah, that would be one test for Cypress.
Can I just ask, you've got a weight there. So I know, I mean, I was a Selenium user, and it used to be very frustrating as it would crash because it wasn't there on the page. But you've got a weight there, weight user list. So what is that actually doing? Why do we need to write that?
The moment you click on something that's going to trigger a reload of the page, you want to wait for that reload. Otherwise, Selenium will still work with the pointers to elements from the previous page. And so you go ahead and say, okay, I want to intercept the next page load or Ajax call. I give that an alias. And then I say, okay, wait until the page load with the alias user edit, for example, has finished. So,
okay, so you don't need to know how long, because I used to have to put weight and the amount of milliseconds, all that sort of thing. So you don't have to. That's brilliant.
That's so normally you first go to the web page, for example, the user manager in this case, and then you click on a button, and you don't want to tell Selenium to go to the new user URL, but you want to click on the button and make sure that Joomla itself gets that done correctly. So, and in that case, you want to intercept that call. Otherwise, you're going to click on the new button, and Selenium will then, in the next millisecond, check if there are PHP notices or warnings. And that's not going to help you anything because in that millisecond, the new page hasn't loaded yet. Yeah, and that's the how you can write Selenium tests. The interesting part now is we can also get screenshots from our tests. And if you can see here the tests failed. I have to admit our Cypress tests aren't that stable yet. We are still working on improving that. But when a test fails, you get a big red circle with an X, and our artifacts system tests step starts running, and it's giving you a URL similar to this in the third line. If you open that one up, you get a directory listing, and then you get the different tests that were run or were executed. And for example, here you have the installation. You click on this and you see, okay, something went wrong during the installation. It didn't wait for the Ajax call properly. That timed out before it was supposed to time. You know what I mean. So this should help you to debug the tests you have, and maybe to extend this a little bit. You can also run the Cypress tests completely headless by simply calling, for example, something like this. This will execute all your system tests simply in a headless system like our CI system. And my final goal at the end is that we have a documentation for extension developers to provide them with all the tools to set up a continuous integration system with code style that's similar to the Joomla code style, with Selenium, with a Cypress test skeleton and tools how to test their extensions each time they do make a change, so that in the end we do get better quality extensions overall from more developers and prevent regressions like we had sometimes in the past. Maybe one more interesting part would be we do have a helper module in our node installation that's already, let me find it there, Joomla Cypress. Joomla Cypress contains a bunch of small helper functions. For example, this contains all the code you need to install Joomla, disable statistics, set error reporting, and all that stuff. And it also contains the necessary code to install an extension via Cypress. So if you want to write your own tests, you can take this package, Joomla-Cypress, install it in your Cypress setup, and then you already have all the necessary stuff to install Joomla, install your extension, and then go ahead and test your stuff right away, instead of having to reinvent the wheel in this part again. Any questions?
Do you have to have the browsers pre-installed, or does it come with the browsers? Because I noticed it had 4 different browsers. So yeah, Edge, Electron, and Firefox. I don't have Electron. Would I need to install that, or does it come with it?
So I didn't install Electron on my system, so I'm pretty sure that it comes with a few browsers, but I'm not sure. I have to admit, I don't know right now.
Yeah, it takes the browsers you have on the system, but Electron is included.
Yeah. Okay, thanks.
That would be a little bit overkill, especially since we actually, this branch that you're seeing here has a new feature. Let me make some advertisement. This is going to come in Joomla 4.3. You can install Joomla via the command line with just one long command, and that would be far better to install Joomla than using Cypress. So Cypress will actually only work with Joomla 4.3 and upwards, most likely. So you of course you can create this for all different Joomla versions, but you would have to write the code for Joomla 4.2 and below yourself. Yeah, that's if you look at the user list stuff. So we are going to the new user screen here. We are filling out the form, and then we're clicking on the save and close button, and it's basically, it can do all the stuff a normal user can do. Yes, there are plugins for Cypress to do that. There are also plugins and configuration options in Cypress to not only do screenshots, but also take videos of the whole test and to compare known good parts of a screen against the actual test result. So we could go ahead and define our input form fields should look like this, and then compare that known good screenshot against whatever we want to have, or whatever we got in the tests. Yeah. Yeah, or even if stuff like a calendar form field still works, if you click on it, that the pop-up works correctly and looks all right. So Cypress has this this dashboard feature which contains extended notification stuff. But otherwise, it just returns a non-zero value on your command line, and then you have to take a look what it did there, or in your continuous integration system, process that further. Thank you very much. It's actually, it's been pretty fast to convert all the Selenium tests to Cypress. It's really not difficult to write this stuff. There are even screen recorders which record whatever you click on the website, and the result already is quite a good test. You have to give it some polishing, but I'm actually we're talking about asking everyone who's sending in an issue into Joomla to also provide such a screen recording or Cypress recording, so that we can follow along what they're doing. Indeed, that's something. We do have a Joomla meeting starting Thursday from the CMS team to look into, among other things, this stuff to automate more tests and reduce the load and improve our overall testing in this area. You mean tests for common extensions? No, that's it's something on my to-do list that I want to have, like 5 to 10 extensions which we can install or check if they are still working with Joomla on a daily basis. So Joomla has nightly builds. They are continuous integration is an interesting topic, but if you look here, we do have nightly builds. I don't know if you can read this. And in these, we could check each day if, for example, Akiba Backup, USEAM Pro, and other stuff still installs properly in Joomla, and throw warnings when something is failing there.
I suppose it would also help if you're changing PHP versions to up the PHP version and run the tests all again to see that there's no big problem and things like that. That's really good. I mean, one of the things I was thinking it might help with is help screens because they take a long time to produce. If we actually went through and kind of produced a tour with Cypress of all the things that we needed snapshots taken of, then it could, in theory, reproduce the help screens. So as the CMS changes, we could update them and they'd be more updated.
Indeed, but we are still getting our footing in Cypress ourselves. So Robert has been working on this. I've been working on this. Harald has done some stuff as well. And we are inviting everybody to join us and improve this. If you want to wet your feet, or yeah, you'll be more than welcome.
That's great.
As I said, we do have these screen recorders or browser recording tools. They are actually pretty good. They do like 70% of the work for you. So and you don't have to be the master coder to write an actually pretty good test in Cypress. Yeah.
That's how Selenium used to work, but the problem with Selenium was identifying some of the nodes. It was a real bugger to try and work out whether you were clicking on whether it thought you were clicking on the right bit. And this looks a lot more intuitive and helpful. So, you know, I found when I used Selenium that it just took up hours and hours going through trying to get it to do the test right. But once it did, it was okay. Whereas this looks a lot more intuitive.
Yeah, they are working on Cypress Studio themselves, which is actually a tool to write these tests. I have to admit, I didn't get around to testing that yet because it's, yeah, more or less new. I think it's a few months old, and yeah, didn't get around to testing that one out. But they have tools which there are quite a few tools which produce pretty good results. And if you are interested in this, you don't need to be the best developer in the world, but there are really the barrier is pretty low.
It feels a bit what you're describing like iMacro. iMacro had a recorder, so you would basically start it, then you would go in and install your Joomla, put in a few extensions and do all of that, hit stop, and then the recording would be effectively your button clicks and your movement and everything, and you could then replay it. It wasn't perfect, and I think it was the Firefox one worked better than the Chrome one, or the other way around. But I used to use that, and then I moved to Selenium. Yeah, this sounds really good.
Let me. I didn't test this for quite some time, but so I've got this now. It's yeah, recording everything. Now we are ending the recording, and now you can see. Okay, this is now in Playwright. We switch over to Cypress, and then you have the test. You give it a different name. It's loading page X. You can delete some stuff like size of the window. Then we click on the button with name branches, and then deployments and builds, and that's it. So the recording tool can record all the actions that you have on that you're doing in the browser, but assertions. So did it really work out? Did the did the right message appear on the screen? That's stuff that you still have to do by hand and insert, but the rest is yeah, done automatically.
Yeah, I think we should really add that you need to spend some thoughts about testing. So you need to make sure that the test can fail.
Yeah.
If you only do the good things and the test never has a chance to fail, then it's useless. So
yeah.
So that's something. So some thinking about testing, what's your approach and what you are doing is really needed. So I think this is the highest bar you have to jump over, but all the technical stuff, so clicking on something or choosing the right element is really easy for someone who knows a little bit about HTML.
Yeah, but I would still say that it's taking quite a lot of yeah, it's doing quite a lot of work for you, these screen recorders, and that's a lot easier than yeah, having to come up with all of this yourself. So now there are a few questions, and I have to admit, okay.
I think
Yeah, sorry. I mean Cypress, not Selenium.
I think you covered
I would say non-developers should definitely test out Cypress. If you have a look, as I said, check out Joomla from GitHub, do your composer install and npm install, and then you have to adapt your Cypress config to basically which URL should we open. You can even use a remote URL, and then run. Okay, run npm run Cypress open and fiddle around. In worst case, you close everything and that's it. Yeah. Sorry. If we look at this test suite here, with everything we've been doing, it's like 20 minutes. And the Selenium, the Cypress tests take like 4.5 up to 5 minutes right now. But I have to admit that our test suite is rather limited. If you look in the tests, we do have like, yeah, creating a category, deleting it again, creating an article, unpublishing, trashing, and deleting it again, and yeah, creating a field, trashing and deleting it again. It's the list of tests we have right now is should be extended a lot very soon.
The beauty is it's frees up the CMS release team to test the really unusual things and focus on the security stuff rather than doing all the usual stuff, which if you don't do it, then sod's law will be that something is wrong there. So you need to do it, but all of this could be covered by Cypress, which would be really useful.
Yeah.
And I remember ages ago we had an issue because of source sets and they didn't show properly. You know, writing that test just to cover those user cases means that we should never run into them again and not know. That's the lovely thing. We can cover all of those issues.
Yeah.
I think
probably one thing we can also add to it when you think about your clients, and you probably want to make sure that one functionality is really always working. You can write a test for it with Cypress that clicking to your client side and making sure that one form or what functionality is always working. There's also an option you can use these things to go for. Just study.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you very much. Thank you both, Robert and Hannes, for putting all the effort in. And thanks, Hannes, for doing the talk and being exactly on time. It's brilliant.
You're welcome.
Any other things from anyone? Anyone got any things outside of the talks, things they've discovered, new extensions? God, everybody's very quiet.